Hello, today on Board Deck and Dice we are looking at a classic come back to life. The game is Dragon Dice, which I wasn't aware of before. It may have been in the 70s before I was born. Or I may have just missed out on it. So we're going to have a look at a core starter set for 2 players and some boosters and just a brief overview of how the game works. The goal of Dragon Dice is to beat the other player in a race to claim 2 territories, or by wiping their sorry dice army off the face of the planet. You don't literally crush them. The dice represent different types of army units and have different health according to their size. Here we see a 30-point game setup. To win the 2 territories, you must change the territory dice in the middle to an 8. If it is pointing at you, you will get a bonus for this too. During the game, you'll go through a number of phases, including attack, reinforce and move, and if a dragon's been woken up, then he will come and attack everyone. Or she. You can move units into your reserve and at various points move them back. This isn't illustrated properly here, I'm just showing you where the reserve is. Your armies will fight with melee, magic and missile. Most attacks can be avoided by rolling saves and melees can be countered. Any damage done to you is taken off in the exact unit health. So that is 2 ways of doing 3 there, for example. The game can be expanded upon by buying extra booster packs, which include new armies and special attack dice. So Dragon Dice is a peculiar one in many ways. It's not... in some ways it's not as immediate as the other dice collection games like Destiny or... what's the other one? Dice Masters. And that's because you can do so much. There's quite a lot of depth here to dig into. There's missile attacks, melee attacks which can be countered. There's magic, and magic is mental. When you roll for magic, your race dice have 2 colours, and the results count for both those colours. You can choose which one to go, and if there's a territory of the same colour, it doubles those colours. And you just have this spell book which tells you what spells you can cast for what results. There's just so much variety there. Even down to the army dice of the same size haven't necessarily got the same distribution of symbols on them. So you can be really strategic and fight against the luck elements that all rolling dice games have by stacking the odds. So if you want your home army to be melee based, then you can do that. You can put more melee attacking dice in that area. I find it hilarious that if you summon a dragon, it attacks both sides. So you really want to be summoning a dragon when you're about to vacate an area or leave one. The territory system is really good. There's a little bit of bluff in there. You say, yeah, I'd like to move the dice up or down in this territory, and your opponent either has to allow it or challenge it, and then you roll for manoeuvres. And if you're the active player and you win that or tie that, you get to change the dice. And then if you get up to 8, you own that territory, you get a territory bonus. But then the other player can change it back again, unless you've wiped them out from there. So that's really cool. The moving dice around system is great. I think for me, the complexity surprised me. I thought it would be a lot lighter than it is. The details, the dice have, so different faction dice have different symbols for the same thing. So the melee attack on one might be clubs, on another it might be tridents. So it's thematic like that. Also, each faction has their own ID symbols, which show you, which count as the symbol you were rolling for times the health of that dice. So if you roll a 1 and you get if you roll a 1 health unit and you get the ID symbol, that counts as one of the items you were rolling for. So about luck and dice games, I think if you are really getting into this and you are sorting your armies out how you want, and you've got this strategy going in, then it's not going to be as much of an issue, because it means that because of the distribution of the dice, you're not going to be rolling sevens, eights or nines very often of one thing, unless you get lucky with the IDs. Symbols, but it also means you've got options. You have to declare what you're doing first and that sort of thing. I love the fact that every attack is avoidable. You can roll for saves, and as we saw in the video, there's some booster packs, so you could play with a 15-point army versus a 15-point army for a quicker game. You could even play without the territories and just try and wipe each other out if you wanted. So there's a lot of depth, lots of variety here. I didn't even look at the battle pack, which came with those kind of triangular dice, long triangular dice. So there's even more variety there. The Kickstarter is going to add numerous things, like you'll be able to buy neoprene play mats. You'll be able to, there'll be what are they called, player aids for each faction, so you know what magic they can cast and you have that in front of you. On the paper boards that I had, the turn order and round order was printed onto the mats, so that was really good as well, so you don't have to keep flicking through the rulebook so much. So yeah, a real surprise for me. So people who've played this before obviously know what to expect. People who are new to it, just bear in mind going in, this is not a light dice rolling game. There is a lot you can do, and I'd recommend starting off with a basic game, which is what I got sent. There's a full rule set where you have racial powers and everything, so different races have different powers, and you can mix your armies, so you can have different races in your armies. So, you know, so there's a lot going on, and just beware of that going in. And I think all of these kind of two-player games they've got this much going on really hinge on whether you've got someone you can play it with regularly, or a few people you can play it with regularly. So you're both making your armies, you're deciding your strategies, and then you're trying them out against each other. But that's the same for any kind of skirmishy games. Shadespire is the same. If you just got it for you and you're making all the armies, then you're not going to be playing it. So it's not really a criticism. It's just you know, don't buy this expecting to bust it out in front of a new player and go, "Way, this is what we're doing," and get the full deepness of the game out of it. So that is Dragon Dice. It's coming to Kickstarter soon. The link will be down below as always. Thanks very much for watching Board, Deck and Dice.